Hello. Welcome to the Spread, NESN.com's football pick podcast. I'm NESN.com's Mike Cole, joined once again by Andre Khatchaturian, Ricky Doyle. Gentlemen, how are we? How was our Thanksgiving?
I have no complaints.
That's good.
All things considered, it was a pretty low-key Thanksgiving, but happy and healthy. So
that's good.
Yeah, it was pretty low-key. It was pretty good. But I'm turning 31 this week, and it's very sad that I still have nothing to show for. So.
No, that's not true. You're a co-host of a very successful, seldomly watched.
Yeah, but I look at you, Mike. You have a kid on the way, beautiful wife, nice home, and then I look at myself, and it's like, what am I doing here? But that's a topic for another day.
It's a real moment of reflection right there.
I mean, we can flesh this out, but I don't think that's what the people are here for. I mean, I have a few opinions that we can chat about offline if you need a little help and guidance, but. They say 31's the new 21, so you're.
We got some pamphlets or brochures we can give you to send on the right track. Maybe.
Yeah, we could. Like I said, we can workshop this a little bit afterwards. I understand though, 31's tough because, you've gone past 30. Now you're just like, oh, all right. But I don't know. I wouldn't stress too much about it if I was you. Like. There's like a sliding scale now with ages. Like it's just not the same. I mean, what do you want? You're a millennial in a pandemic world. What do you know?
I just want my cholesterol levels to be good in a few months when I go get my blood work.
So here's the thing: you're healthy and you're employed in the midst of, what the world is right now. That's great.
It's a good positive.
And coming off a fairly decent week, I believe, too.
I am also as well. All of us is great.
I was going to mention that. That's something you do have. Yeah.
Ricky, you and I went 9-6, and Mike, you went 8-7. Ricky, you're still leading the way.
Damn it.
With 84 wins on the year. And we're still waiting on the Ravens-Steelers game. You guys want to change your picks? This is a chance to do it right now.
Did you guys have did you guys have Philly last night?
I had Philly plus 6.5, but on our picks column we had it at 5-point spread.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say for the NESN.com betting preview yesterday, I took the Eagles getting 6.5, and that turned out to be pretty fortunate.
We should all get a pass on that Broncos Saints game as well.
I was gonna mention that. Yeah,
but,
we probably should. But if we all had the same one, right? We all had the Broncos.
Yeah.
We were all very high on that pick too, I think.
Yeah. Which is funny though, because Drew Lock sucks too. So we were making that pick assuming Drew Lock was going to play a whole lot better than Kendall Hilton or whatever.
Did you guys see what Drew Lock's mother said on Twitter?
That was a tough look. I don't disagree with anything she said, but it is weird to be like a QB1 in the NFL and have your mom defending you on
Did you
Twitter.
see her Twitter handle?
Yeah, it was
Laura Lock Rocks.
Yeah. A classic old person handle. Before we get into what we're really here for, which is picking 3 of the best games of the weekend, and then we'll do a locks upsets, all against the spread as well, which is why we're dealing with that. Please make sure to subscribe to our wonderful podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or even subscribe to the the NESN YouTube page if you're watching on YouTube, and leave us comments, tell us how great we are. Leave us some good reviews, or if you're watching on YouTube, maybe leave your picks in the comments and tell us how dumb we are. That certainly is. That seems to be the trend on YouTube for sure. So,
wish Andre a happy birthday as well.
Yes, exactly. Tell Andre what he has to be thankful for on his birthday.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, of course. Maybe we'll figure it out. Week 12 was a weird one, and I was just trying to look it up. I couldn't find the information, but there was a whole lot of lopsided public support on road favorites, which probably, I know you really shouldn't just look at the money and the handle and go off of that. But when you got 90% of people betting on the New York Giants to cover on the road, it's maybe I'm on the wrong side of that one. To that point, let's see. Against the spread, what was it last week? Week 12, 8-7. Oh no, that's home and away. 5-10. Excuse me. The underdogs covered in 10 of 15 games last week, so that kind of tells you where things are at. The 49ers, Falcons, Titans, and Washington all won as underdogs straight up. There's probably more than that too, even, right? I mean, so it was a weird week last week. A very good week for the books. Not as much for the public. So good job by us then to have plus 500, above 500 for the entire week. So
it could be even better if the Ravens Steelers goes our way.
That game's never gonna get played though. So, I don't know. There's not a whole lot to talk about there. That it is. I mean, we're playing Wednesday football games at 3:40 in the afternoon now. Like, what a world we're living in. This is just
to accommodate the Christmas tree lighting.
Oh my God! Right? That is if we had
any football game too. This isn't the Jaguars and Bills.
I know. If we had show and tell still, that like I certainly would be holding up a Christmas tree this week. You know? The NBC picking Christmas tree lighting over the Steelers Ravens game, which I don't know. Now I got to do a little deep dive into like what kind of ratings that game or the tree lighting gets, because I still can imagine like a Wednesday night game between the Ravens and the Steelers with everything that's going on. That feels like it would do bonkers numbers. So
I feel like the halftime show could have been the Christmas tree lighting.
Now we're talking. There we go.
I think you guys are on the sell on the tree lighting. I think that that's classic background viewing. A lot of people are gonna have that on.
Well, so I was gonna say, who's probably like the type of people who are gonna watch that is like Drew Lock's mom. Like that is.
She'll be tweeting about
it. Good point from Fred Nutter, our esteemed producer on the spread. He also does a whole lot more than that, but he's important. He says they should play the game in front of the tree, which I do like that idea. So let's get weird. Like that's at this point, like that would not be the strangest thing of the 2020 football season at this point. So
no,
just making it up as we go. So
have Christmas trees in the crowd.
Fred also mentions there has to be some kind of prop bets on the tree lighting, which probably, and I will find them and fire on all of them. So I can't wait. Yeah, like higher total. Like wasn't the tree? Isn't it? By the way, weird.
Over under for a number of bulbs being out.
Yeah, we're off the rails already. But like, isn't the tree messed up too this year? It, like didn't they get a crappy tree in New York? I feel I could be wrong.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was like the Onion or something. Who knows at this
point? I know. I did see some tree related dilemma though. There's something.
It looked bad. Going on. Yeah. Which is fitting, like a Charlie Brown tree in the middle of Rockefeller Center for 2020 feels about right. So, you guys want to talk about actual football games?
Yeah.
I mean, we could sprinkle it in, yeah.
I mean, I don't really want to. I'd rather talk about the Christmas tree lighting, but we're here to talk about football. So, all right, yeah, week 13 is a big week. There's some big games. Starting with our first one, which is Sunday afternoon. I believe this is a 1:00 game. Cleveland Browns, they're 8-3. Don't know how that's happened, but they head to the Music City, that is Nashville, to take on the Tennessee Titans. Titans 8-3 as well after just steamrolling the Colts last weekend. Cleveland coming off of a win in Jacksonville that was far from impressive, but a win's a win, which feels like it's been Cleveland's entire season at this point. I just like they're 8-3 and nothing about it seems impressive at all. But wins are wins. So, Ricky, who do you got in this one? The Titans laying 5.5 points. I'm sorry.
Well, first of all, congratulations to the Browns for their first non-losing season since 2007. It's been an impressive run of futility of 12 straight seasons, and hats off to them for finally snapping the skid. That said, I think they might get blown out this week. And this is what concerns me a little bit is that you mentioned this at the top, Mike, about just the amount of money coming in on one team. And it certainly seems like everybody is on the Titans this week. That line going up, I think it opened at 3 and you said it's up to 5.5 now. What was the number that we settled on? So that concerns me a little bit, but I just think that this is, I don't know. I feel like Cleveland's more apt to give the game away. You look at the Titans, obviously rolling offensively. They take care of the football. Only 5 giveaways this season, fewest in the NFL. I think this feels like another big Derrick Henry game. This is obviously the time of year when he typically gets hot. This Cleveland team, 30th in team run stop win rate, according to ESPN Next Gen Stats. So obviously there's something there to, I think there's an opportunity there to sort of just run it into the ground against them. The one concern I do have is that Titans offensive line. I think if they get Myles Garrett back, maybe the Cleveland's defense can be a little disruptive when it comes to Tennessee's passing attack. But I don't know. This Browns team has been a difficult one to sort of figure out all year. And you said last week against Jacksonville, nothing was really impressive about that win. So they just seem to get it done, but it feels like this is sort of a measuring stick game for them. And I just feel like that they're bound to lay an egg in this spot.
Yeah, I think you look at the Browns' remaining schedule. They got Tennessee this week, Baltimore the week after, and then in week 17 they got Pittsburgh. So those are 3 big games for them to like show me games, I guess, if they want to prove that the record is as good as the team is. And to be honest, I don't think they win any of those games, including this one. The spread, I don't think they'll cover the spread either. Both of these teams love to run the ball. Browns number 1 in rush attempts. Browns number 3 in rush attempts. Titans number 1 in rush attempts. And they're both really good at it too. But I feel like the Titans' rush defense is slightly better than Cleveland's, who ranked 21st in rush defense on Pro Football Focus. And the whole turnover differential thing too, Ricky, you touched on that. Titans' second best turnover differential, do a good job protecting the ball. And Baker Mayfield, last 4 games, just 2 touchdowns, no picks. It's nice that he has no picks because he tends to make some mistakes. But I feel like if they're just sheltering him a little bit.
In his defense, the weather has been absolutely horrible.
And that sort of adds to like trying to figure out this Browns team.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good point. I should have mentioned that off yeah, right. It's like no wonder it hasn't been entirely impressive because they've been playing in monsoons. But
that's what they are though. They're a running team. Weather like that is going to help them.
Yeah.
But you look at a team again like the Titans. Tennessee has won in those big spots. They've proven it. They went deep in the playoffs last year. They're also at home. They're less turnover prone. They can win with the air. They can win at the ground. They can win in more ways. So I'll take the Titans.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I hate the fact that I have the Titans as well, and I don't love it because it just feels too obvious, too easy.
Feels very square.
Yeah, it does. And like, so I tried to work backwards and see how I could figure out a way that Cleveland, wins this game, and it's Nick Chubb they run the ball a million times and they just dominate the line of scrimmage, which is possible because the Tennessee defense is not very good. Like third down defense, they are last in the NFL. Their red zone defense isn't very good. I just expect them to do enough offensively early in the game to kind of take away that running attack of Cleveland. And if you make Cleveland kind of have to try to play catch-up football, I don't think they're going to do it even against the Titans defense. And I think you look at, I agree with you guys. Like the Titans are going to run the ball. I think they're going to have a lot of success, but I think they're going to be able to throw the ball too because Cleveland's got a whole mess of injuries in the secondary. Denzel Ward probably going to miss another game. Safety Ronnie Harrison is a strong member of that secondary, went down with a shoulder injury. He could miss time. They're already without Greedy Williams, Sheldrick Redwine. Like that secondary is banged up. They just claimed the guy a safety off of waivers from Kansas City. Like and they're wondering if they can get him ready for the stretch run. So like that's tough when you're going up against an offense that we saw what AJ Brown can do last week. Like I feel like Tennessee is better suited to have to win this game in a different way than their game plan maybe dictates than I think Cleveland does. And like I said, if Tennessee gets up early, I have problems seeing Cleveland kind of climbing back into it. So again, don't love it because I think everyone's going to be on it, but it is what it is. Oh, the other thing too, sounds like Myles Garrett will be back. And I kind of went and looked at maybe just run right at him, right? Like that's kind of what you try to do to take away, pass rushers. And I looked at his 4 quote unquote worst games of the season, which is basically I was just going off of the sacks. Cleveland's allowed 135 rushing yards in those 4 games. So like that seems to be the recipe to kind of slowing him down or slowing down any pass rusher. It's either just running the ball a ton or running right at that guy and kind of trying to tire him out. So I think they try to do that this week. Yeah, great offensive lines here too. So that's the other thing. But I don't know. It's a tough one. What are you gonna say, Andre? I
was gonna say if you can get like a prop bet of Chubb or Henry on the over, I think this is that game against 2 pretty meh or bad rush defenses.
Maybe, yeah. I honestly would look more toward the Tennessee over because I think everybody's going to have that line of thinking that you were just saying,
right?
Which I understand, but I think so. You're probably going to have some value on the Tennessee passing offense more so than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be a good one. We'll see. Let's go to the NFC West. We've got the Los Angeles Rams coming off of what did the Rams do last week? They lost. That's right. They lost to the 49ers. They head to the desert to take on Arizona for the first of 2 games in the desert this weekend, which we'll get to in a little bit. You've got the Cardinals coming off of a loss at New England, which they looked very unimpressive. They're trying to rebound at home, getting 3 points. Rams 3-point favorites to start here. Total set at 48.5. Andre, who do you like in this big NFC West matchup?
Yeah, this one was tough to pick. Usually when that's the case, I'll usually go with the points. But I also saw, the Rams, the rush defense, they're pretty good. They allow 3.9 yards per game, but they do allow the sixth most rushing yards per carry to quarterbacks. And a lot of that damage was done by Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, and Russell Wilson. And Kyler Murray, he kind of hit a wall there against New England. Couldn't really do much running the ball. Maybe that is the film. People are other teams are trying to catch on it, but I'm going to give him another shot this week and say he does well running the ball against the Rams this week. Again, these are 2 other teams that love to run the ball. Arizona 6th in rush attempts, LA 7th in rush attempts, and they're both pretty good at it too. And here's another reason why I think Arizona covers and even wins. The last 6 games between these 2 teams, Rams have won 6 in a row, and by margins of 33, 16, 34, 22, 27. And last year, the most recent game, just 7 points. That's an average margin of victory of 23 points. Arizona's kind of been like the little brother here, getting beat up on by the Rams. I think this is the time. They're at home, divisional game. This is their coming out party this year. The Cardinals, I think they come out and get that upset victory at home.
Yeah, I mean, if not for that one Hail Mary, we're talking about a 4-game losing streak for the Cardinals team. And the biggest thing for them, I mean, they've got to make some adjustments offensively. It's just, it feels a little bit like they're getting figured out here, what you touched on, Andre. And it's just, for me, this is a challenging spot for a team that's sort of in search of that offensive footing. I look at Kyler Murray the last 2 weeks, 1 run for -2 yards on zone reads against the Patriots, 3 rushes for 1 yard on zone reads against the Seahawks. So sort of what's been a staple of their offense has gone out the window a little bit. And I think if you're the Rams, they don't blitz at a particularly high rate, but they might want to send some extra bodies this week. That's sort of been the formula a little bit to slowing down the Cardinals over the past few weeks. So maybe they dial up some pressure. And I think that, ultimately this is a Rams defense that's, excellent defending the pass and solid against the run, as you mentioned. First in average yards per drive against, first in average points per drive against. Another thing with Kyler Murray is getting a lot of passes batted down at the line of scrimmage. We saw that against the Patriots. We've seen it over the past few weeks. So I just think it's a tough spot against this Rams defense. So I'll lay the points on the road. I don't feel that great about it, just given the fact that you are laying points in a divisional game on the road. But like I said, for all those reasons, I need to see something from this Cardinals offense to lead me to believe that they're making those adjustments that they need to make.
I do love Andre's theory that the Cardinals have lost too many games against Sean McVay, and now they're due. I'm going the other way. I'm taking the Rams because they've dominated the Cardinals. Yes, Sean McVay 6-0 against Arizona, which, to Andre's credit and to the Cardinals' credit, has not always been this iteration of the Cardinals, which is probably the best version we've seen of them, correct? Yeah, I would think we would all agree. But they've done a pretty good job of figuring out Kyler Murray. Obviously, he's 0-2, completing fewer than 60% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, with just a 70.5 passer rating. Like, that's not great. I think that Rams defense continues to be borderline underrated, I think. And I think they do a lot of things. They feel like they can do multiple things, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And, like, they're good at disguising looks, which they did a very good job a couple of weeks ago against Tom Brady. The defense played fine last week. It's just the offense got kind of shut down by San Francisco. I kind of to what Ricky was saying, and Andre, I think you might even mention too, Kyler Murray just hasn't been the same player recently. I think it's he's clearly dealing with some sort of shoulder injury, which he denies. But you just look at the numbers. 6 yards per attempt over his last 3 games, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 87 passer rating. Arizona in that stretch of 3 games, yards per play. Whoa, my goodness. 6 yards per play. Excuse me, sorry. In those last 3 games, they've had 5.2 yards per play, which is 16th in the NFL. That's down from 6 yards per play, which is 7th in the NFL. So like there's just something it's not clicking right now. I don't know if they've kind of hit a rough patch. The book is out on them. I question Cliff Kingsbury's ability to make adjustments in the short and the long term. I think I like Kingsbury probably more than a lot of people do, but there is some stuff when you watch them, and we got a good up close look at the Cardinals this week with them playing New England, and it's like, can we maybe try something new here that's not working necessarily? Like, they always have Hopkins on the same side. So that's another thing too, is like Jalen Ramsey, you got that matchup again, and Hopkins, I think it's 7 games, I'm not sure what it was, against Ramsey. He's only averaging 6 catches and 72 yards per game. So if he can erase DeAndre Hopkins, and you just get Aaron Donald to pin his earbacks and go after Kyler, I think it could be a long day for.
That's right. That's an AFC South reunion for Ramsey and Hopkins.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple of more things I want to add that actually help your guys' points. Arizona is the most penalized team and has the second most. Arizona's the most penalized team, and the Rams are the second least penalized team. So leads the league in flags and 3 not count penalties. So that doesn't help Cardinals either.
And we just saw that being an issue. I mean, you can debate that call at the end of the game on Cam Newton, but it still was a penalty that helped put the Patriots in. I guess with the Cardinals, it's like, I don't know if they've learned necessarily how to close out games yet. Like, that's sort of a little bit of a concern for me.
So that's the thing. I was going to mention this. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Ricky. Like, Andre, you were right in the preseason about the amount of talent that team has. But I think they've kind of hit their ceiling for 2020 and now are kind of starting to be like just floating near the ceiling. Like it's a good step in their progression. I think it's kind of water starting to find its level a little bit here.
Yeah, I thought they were 1 year away. And I think that they've been better than I expected this year.
Sure.
Yeah. Been a little bit better than advertised. But I think ultimately that this
isn't shocking either.
Yeah, this is the year that, like, next year will be a huge determining factor for them.
I still think they make the playoffs. I think they got the Giants and the Eagles coming up too. Those should be wins, right?
Probably.
You split the last 2 against the 49ers and Rams, can sneak in there. Also, one more thing to add: Jared Goff, last 4 games, guy stinks. 4 touchdowns, 6 picks. So I don't know. Rams also, there's 37 total turnovers in Rams games this season. Like, they're forcing turnovers and they're giving the ball away. That's the most in the NFL. So expect a few more turnovers in this game on both sides of the ball.
What do we think about this? I just looked it up. The Rams 16-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, maybe.
Not bad. I don't know. I feel like I'm higher on the Rams than I should be after them losing to San Francisco at home last week. But it feels like a team
that defense is good.
And they're just well coached, like it's just they're solid. They're just solid.
I think their biggest weakness is at quarterback, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. And we saw that in the Super Bowl too. Like, they went, blow for blow with the Patriots. They just didn't have a quarterback who can make a play when they needed to. So, all right. So this is Monday night, and if I'm not mistaken, this game is in Arizona.
Yes.
So they're playing.
That's the plan.
The Buffalo Bills are heading to Arizona, as are the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers will be the home team because Santa Clara County said, get out. You can't play here. You can't play football unless it's 6 people socially distanced in a park in Santa Clara County. So that includes
Andre's pickup game that he tries to host annually.
As long as Andre –
that's about it.
Well, as long as you stay 6 feet apart, you can play your pickup game, but you can't play a 49ers game. That's no political commentary there whatsoever. But the Bills, coming off of their what did they do last week? They won, right? Yeah, the Bills won.
Yeah. Despite, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Almost blew it late. The Chargers came back. The Bills,
that last play could have been another backdoor cover.
I know. Oh my God. How about by the way, we're just off the rails again. Chargers throw that Hail Mary to get down, inside the 10-yard line, and then they run the ball on the very next play with a running clock. That's why the Chargers suck, Andre. Like, we've been over this every single week.
In my upset. I'll get to that in my lock.
Every single week. But anyway, the Bills laying 2.5 on the road at San Francisco, but at Arizona against the 49ers. So they're playing at the Cardinals Stadium, right?
The Hail Mary game.
So, yeah, there you go. Back to the scene of the crime. That grass, I know they have like that weird thing where they roll the grass in and out. Like, that could be an issue, right? Like, I wonder who we can get into that a little bit more as we start to break this game down. But it's grass, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be chewed up by the Cardinals game that we just talked about. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Anyway, total set at 48.5. Bills laying 2.5 against San Francisco. Ricky, who do you like?
I'm going to take the 49ers. I'm going to take the points. That team it's kind of remarkable what they've been able to do this year, given how banged up they've been, how depleted they've been due to injuries. This is a spot, and really it's a testament to the coaching staff, but this is a spot where it feels like it could be another problem spot for Josh Allen. Look at that San Francisco defense, good in coverage, capable of slowing down the rushing attack.
Good tackling.
It's a very fundamentally sound defense in spite of their injuries, which I think is pretty impressive. Meanwhile, offensively, obviously you got the question of quarterback for San Francisco with Nick Mullins still in there, but I do think that there's an opportunity for San Francisco to run the ball. I mean, you saw the impact of getting back Raheem Mostert and Deebo Samuel this past week. Bills' worst run defense in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus's grades, 30th in terms of expected points contributed by the run defense. So I don't think that San Francisco is going to have to do anything overly flashy in terms of throwing the ball downfield. I think they're just going to be able to sort of line it up and maybe scheme something on the ground to take advantage of the Bills' defensive weaknesses. And then, like I said, I think this is a spot where Josh Allen could struggle a little bit. I mean, the John Brown injury, I think will be huge. I mean, we saw Buffalo had to sort of resort to some trickery against the Chargers, who, I mean, they got a ton of defensive problems of their own. So I don't know. This Buffalo team still, in recent weeks, just leaves a lot to be desired. And if I'm catching points at home, I like it. And I do think too, there's an element of, this is a must-win game for the Niners, as every game for them really is going forward. Buffalo, meanwhile, a little bit of a look-ahead spot. You got the Sunday night game against the Steelers next week. So I just think, matchup-wise, in terms of the spot, I just think this is a good opportunity for the 49ers to pull off an upset.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add, Ricky. Everything you said is amazing. You're getting healthier, San Francisco. Mostert, Richard Sherman too. He's back. I don't know if you talked about him, but and also just Buffalo. Yeah, they struggled against Arizona. It was, like I mentioned earlier, they're a running team. They allowed 217 rushing yards to Arizona. I think it's a similar situation here with San Francisco. Raheem Mostert, maybe the most underrated running back in the league. He's averaging more than 5 yards per carry, back in the lineup. So I definitely see San Francisco employing that running game. And that look-ahead point you made, too. That's a brilliant point, Ricky. And also San Francisco, they're the better yards per play differential team. They're catching points. You know how I feel about that. When I see that, I take the points usually. So give me the 49ers in a neutral site game in the desert.
I like the 49ers here, too. I was hoping I might be on an island here because I actually was just, as you guys were talking, so I don't know, I might repeat some stuff. I was looking to see if I could find any alternate lines already. I couldn't find any, but like I would not be against betting like San Francisco laying 6.5. Like I think they have a chance to blow out the Bills in this game. As you know, Ricky, as you mentioned, the coaching thing is huge. Not that Buffalo is poorly coached, but I mean, other than maybe the Patriots, just because they're grandfathered in, I don't know if there's a better coach team in the entire NFL than the 49ers. And even then, they might still be better than the Patriots at this point. I mean, Salah and that defense is unbelievable what they've been able to do with all the injuries that they've had. They tackle well. Buffalo doesn't tackle very well at all. Both teams blitz a lot. Nick Mullins is like 30 points better passer rating when he's blitzed than when he's not blitzed, with like an 83.3% adjusted completion percentage. He's been pretty good against the blitz, and so is Garoppolo. By the way, Garoppolo had a 137.3 passer rating against when blitzed, and a limited sample size, obviously. So I think that's something that Shanahan kind of welcomes maybe with the way that they run their offense. They were great with Debo back this week. Maybe Debo's limited by Tre'Davious White, but still, there's enough weapons there, I think, in just such a brilliant offensive mind of Shanahan that they figure out a way to take advantage of it. Just not a very good Buffalo defense. And yeah, Andre, you mentioned it too. Richard Sherman, he's back. First game back, awesome. Was only targeted twice. One play was one catch for 9 yards. The other was an interception. He had a 23 passer rating against. And you look at safety Jimmy Ward. He's like one of the best safeties in football. It kind of goes unnoticed, but he had 8 targets, just 3 receptions, 16 yards, and a pass breakup. That combination right there, like that's enough to have a pretty solid secondary. So I think they can take away what Buffalo wants to do. Buffalo can't run the ball. They love to pass the ball. So if you put Sherman on Diggs, and now you're cooking, and you've got, like I said, you got Ward there as well. So this seems like a bad matchup for Buffalo. The quarterback thing it does scare me because I think obviously Josh Allen has a much better chance to make plays than I think Nick Mullins does. But if they just keep it simple with Mullins and put him in a position to be okay, I like the 49ers here a lot.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen could have a brutal game. This could be an absolute just disaster for him.
Could be, yeah.
This could be the lock of the week for all of us, I guess.
Another one I was just thinking of too, by the way. 49ers, 60-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was looking at according to their that football power index or whatever that ESPN does, they only have a 2% chance of winning the NFC West. I was going into week 12.
Yeah, there's
the way they still I think if even in the court of public opinion, they're probably pretty far down. Probably the fourth of those 4 teams, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a team that they could be a real pain down the stretch, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't want to face them.
No, they're probably not going to do much, but they are like a feisty out. So, all right, locks and upsets. Andre, who's your lock?
My lock. We were talking about the LA Chargers and their horrible coaching decisions. So my lock has to do with that basically, because the coaching advantage this week between the Patriots and the Chargers is heavily towards the Patriots side. Huge disparity in coaching between Bill Belichick and Anthony Lynn. Look at 2 years ago when the Patriots played the Chargers in the playoffs. That was probably the best team the Chargers have had in my lifetime, I think. They were just stacked. And I had them winning that game in the divisional round on the road, and they got crushed. But that Chargers team was really good. And I think the coaching disparity was a huge reason why they lost that game. And I think it'll be a big reason why the Patriots are the lock of my week this week. Look, Bill Belichick's defense isn't what it used to be, but he does very well against inexperienced quarterbacks. I see this all the time. Since 2016, the Patriots are now 18-2 straight up and 13-7 against the spread against quarterbacks with fewer than 20 games of experience. Justin Herbert falls in that category. The 2 straight up losses came against Lamar Jackson last year when he won MVP. The other one was this year against the Broncos with Drew Lock. But Drew Lock threw 2 picks, no touchdowns, and the Broncos didn't even score a touchdown in that game. That was the game when they kicked 6 field goals and they beat the Patriots 18-12. And also Chargers allows 4.8 yards per carry, and the Patriots, we know how much they love to run the ball and how successful they are, how much is part of their game. So I see this one being a big win for the Patriots.
Patriots are the ultimate, just sort of go with your gut week to week because they don't do anything particularly well. So more often than not, you're relying on them to be very well coached and to take advantage of their opponents not being.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got to look at the matchup with them a lot of the time.
They've sucked up against bad teams this year too, but I think you throw that out the window this week for all the reasons that Andre mentioned. I think Belichick just running circles around Lynn. So,
my lock, I'll go the Vikings. 9.5-point favorites over the Jaguars, who may or may not have Gardner Minshew back at quarterback. I don't know, or maybe it's Mike Glennon again. Who the hell knows? A lot of it's, the Vikings, I think historically, if you look at their against the spread records under Mike Zimmer, it's dating back to 2014. Very good at home, very good as favorites, and very good outside the division. This game checks all 3 of those boxes. Facing a Jaguars team that's just, it's a cellar dwelling team with awful defense. Obviously, the quarterback uncertainty that I mentioned. So feels like a little bit of a get right spot for the Vikings after failing the cover against Carolina, and maybe a crash back down the earth spot for Jacksonville after putting up a fight against Cleveland. So I can just see this one being a blowout.
Jacksonville having like the perfect we suck season, but there's stuff to feel good about. Like 1-10, but 5-6 against the spread. Have played some close games, so it's all going according.
And they're another one. It's like they don't. Yeah, they got some things to build on, but they don't have one real strength. It's like
which is why I mean they're cleaning house. Like they're just firing GM, so it is weird. I don't know.
Tough. They're another feel team, week to week feel.
Yeah.
How do you feel about them?
Which is funny because I actually thought about using them as my lock to go in there and beat Minnesota. Like but that says more about Minnesota than anything else. But
I'm drawing a blank. Who was their quarterback in the AFC Championship?
Who?
Jacksonville. Was it Blake Bortles?
Blake Bortles.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
We almost had Blake Bortles and Jared Goff in the Super Bowl. I know. My lock is I'll take the Packers laying 9 at home against the Eagles. Very square, very probably bad because Miles Sanders might run all over the Packers. But I was actually encouraged when I saw the Packers defense last week I know it was against the Bears, but I think they did not use the 3-man rush once. And so there was a little more aggressiveness out of Mike Pettine's defense. But this just has more to do with the fact that they're going in a completely different direction than the Eagles. I think they get up early and they hold on to the lead and the spread lead. Packers, offense is clicking on all cylinders right now. Matt LaFleur deserves more credit as Coach of the Year candidate with what they've had to do. But now they've got their full arsenal of offensive weapons back, so I like the Packers here. And I watched a lot of the Eagles game on Monday, and not a whole lot impressive about that Eagles. Also, revenge spot for last year's. I think it was week 1. The Eagles went in there and beat the Packers. So.
Okay. Wait, actually, Mike, you're wrong. That would have been Blake Bortles versus Nick Foles in the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you're wrong. Sorry. So wait, what year? Who did the Patriots beat? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true. So they go to the AFC Championship so much. You're like, was that? Who the hell did they beat in the AFC Championship before the Rams?
That was the Chiefs game when they.
Oh, correct. Yes, you're right. Yeah, that would have been a little bit better.
A game they had no business winning.
No.
That's the thing. The Patriots have sucked for 3 years. Like they
True.
just managed to win somehow. Like they had no business winning that Super Bowl.
Scotch tape and whatever to get to that point. Brady hated it. Now look where he's at. Anyway, upsets. I don't know who starts. So Ricky, who's your upset?
I'll take the ferocious Detroit Lions over the hapless Chicago Bears. Obviously, new coaching change there. Matt Patricia, the third head coach fired this year. The Texans, they covered and won in their first game after firing Bill O'Brien. The Falcons covered and won in their first game after firing Dan Quinn. So let's keep the streak rolling this week. I don't really like anything about either one of these teams. So this just could be a trash football game. But, hey, it's a divisional game. There's, a little bit of unpredictability there. I would feel a little bit better about it if I knew that Matthew Stafford would have a couple weapons back. So we'll see if DeAndre Swift and Kenny Golladay play this week. But
just using adjectives, Ricky, I'm going to go with the rowdy Houston Texans against the overrated Indianapolis Colts. That's my upset of the week. Texans are getting points at home in the divisional matchup. And I talked about last week, like good bat teams. I think Houston Texans are one of those good bat teams. They won 3 of their last 4. Only loss was to Cleveland. And
they have nobody to play with this week, though. Everybody's tested positive for PEDs this week. And
PEDs?
Yeah.
Well, they still have a quarterback.
He's got nobody to throw to now, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying.
Deshaun Watson is a big reason why I'm taking. I mean, Deshaun Watson hasn't had anyone to throw to ever since the DeAndre Hopkins trade. But in the last 6 games, 15 touchdowns, no picks. And against some tough opponents too. The Titans, Packers, Browns, and also the Texans' biggest weakness is their rush defense. But Indianapolis is third to last in yards per carry. So I don't see the Colts exploiting that.
Will Fuller and Bradley Roby both suspended 6 games for PED violations. So.
Yeah.
Have a day, Houston. Give me
time for that to come in after Will Fuller's Turkey Day. What do you have, like 200 yards?
I know. Also, happy the Packers did not trade a second-round pick for Will Fuller now. Anyway, my upset. I don't know when this game was supposed to be played, but let's go Monday afternoon, 5 p.m. I got the Washington football team ending the Pittsburgh Steelers' undefeated season.
So you're assuming they win against Baltimore?
Yes. I think they should take care of a Baltimore team that has literally 20 guys on the COVID.
Okay, yeah, I just want to, make sure. Yeah.
I picked Pittsburgh last week anyway. I feel better about that pick now than I do. But I like Washington here. Feisty. Alex Smith is playing well. Like I said last week, that offense is starting to click with him at quarterback. The defense is tremendous. You've got Pittsburgh in like the weirdest week in NFL history where their games being moved all around. So they got to play Wednesday. Then I guess that technically is a short week to come back and play Monday against a rested team, a Washington team that hasn't played since last Thursday. Pittsburgh's playing, we already mentioned it. It's a kind of a look ahead spot for them too. They've got the Buffalo game coming up the week after. So this is like sandwiched in between Baltimore and Buffalo, two really important games in the conference and in the division in the case of Baltimore. It just feels like a good spot for Washington to come in and say, you know what, screw you guys. We're going to win this game and we're going to win the NFC East and nothing else anybody can say about it. So I like Washington here. They're getting 9.5, but like I said, I would look at the money line. I think there's a chance that they could knock off the Steelers on Monday.
I really like that a lot.
Afternoon/night in Pittsburgh. The Steelers historically don't do very well as big favorites. I can't
stress enough how much I like that pick.
Yeah, I know. I say that. Yeah.
What's the odds for Washington winning the Super Bowl? That's something I would put money on.
100-1.
That's good value. I love Washington. They're peaking at the right time. Everyone's making fun of the NFC East. They're going to win that division, host a playoff game, get hot.
I like them even more because they made good on us pumping their tires last week. I mean, we were all over that game and talked about how good they were, and they
give Washington the right matchup in the playoffs. They can make some noise. Give them the right matchup.
It would be it is one of the better stories, or like the weirder. It would be perfect. Like, this is a team that changed their name to just a football team. Like, they've got the worst owner in all of sports, so that sucks. But could you imagine? I mean, it's a movie waiting to happen. Alex Smith wins the Super Bowl. Wow, that would be great.
So they could, if they win that division, they could end up playing Tampa in the first.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I think winnable game.
I think no matter what, at this point, it's gonna be Tampa versus either Washington or the Giants. So you've got like another interesting plot line there, where if Brady and the Bucs have to go to the Meadowlands and play the Giants, that's an interesting one too. So they almost lost too earlier in the season. Brady, I don't know if you guys have heard, has had a couple.
Right now the Rams hold the 5 spot.
Whatever. The Bucs, by the way, we didn't talk about the Bucs at all. They might be in trouble too. So
it's their bye week.
Yeah, finally. What a weird bye week to have.
13 bye week. Season's almost over.
Yeah. I couldn't come at a better time for them too. So, anything else, gentlemen?
No. Just gotta go get ready for the tree lighting.
Andre, happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's it for the spread. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and we'll catch you again next week for week 14. Enjoy the football. We'll talk to you then.